Welcome, Wapplers from around the world. This is our 12th global broadcast in a year. We hold Wappler meetups on the first Friday of every month, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Netherlands, 1600. We always send you can keep tabs on us on the forum. Any new Wapplers especially, we would welcome you to join us at any time. And today we're going to start with Andrew. Lemon Pie is a new Wappler, and I'd like to ask you to start with your idea about your experience so far being new to Wappler and your idea about a video.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a software developer, and I primarily use PHP and Laravel. But I'm very interested in no code, low code, but I don't want to end up with vendor lock-in and end up sort of, no control over what I've developed. So I'm very interested in Wappler because it gives you that ability to own your own code and host it yourself. There's most of the other tools out there, you sort of end up locked in, and you have to end up, you sort of paying a monthly thing forever. So I'm attracted to Wappler for that. I've been playing with it, and I can share my screen if you like to show what sort of thing I've been doing. And as I say, I'm a fairly experienced developer, but I did find it a bit confusing, and I thought maybe I'd just show what I've been doing, and then perhaps my thought was, well, maybe somebody would like to team up with me, not necessarily right now, but team up with me, and maybe we'd make a video or something so that everybody could learn from the teething troubles that I'm going through.
Awesome. Sounds like an awesome idea. Please feel free to share your screen.
All right. Okay. Oh, just bear with me.
Take your time.
Yeah. All right. Been a while since I've been into Zoom. Okay, I'll have to quit and come back in, so just bear with me if you don't mind talking amongst yourselves, and I'll just quit and come back in while that lets me in.
No worries. We'll take advantage of that and go with introductions. Right. John, would you like to start off?
Yeah, I'm John, in about 30 miles east of London, UK, and been using Wappler since it first came out 5 or 6 years ago, and was using DMX stuff prior to that, Dreamweaver, and yeah, I'm still entrenched in PHP, but we're imminently making a transition to Node.
Awesome. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Scott. I'm a software developer. I've been using Wappler for just over a year. And what enticed me towards Wappler, having played with other no-code platforms, is exactly what's been said so far, is the ability to deploy into whatever environment you choose. So that without having that vendor lock-in really gives us the freedom of what we can deliver to our clients.
It's wonderful. Major benefit. Mark, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mark Red. I'm in the Boston, Massachusetts area. I'm CTO for a healthcare company. Very interested in the idea of no code. Although I share the frustration of trying to understand how Wappler works. To be honest, I don't come from the Dreamweaver world. I'm a software developer. Spend most of my time in Go code and looking at single page apps with the various toolkits like Angular or React and so on. And I'm just trying to understand how to put it in Wappler. I still have difficulties connecting it all together. So anything that would sort of help. I like the idea of the tutorial that was suggested moments ago.
Awesome. If I'm pronouncing it correctly, is it Ronnie or Ronnie?
It's Ronnie. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. So my name is Ronnie De Silva. I'm from India, southern part of India, a small state called Goa. I'm a solutions architect for a IT company which is into fintech. We've been starting to using about Wappler about like 6 months back, mainly into Node.js, and it's been pretty wonderful developing projects into it. It's been really fast as to our earlier methodology where we are using Laravel and PHP, and we were able to develop projects within days what used to take us months. So really happy using Wappler and developing, like, especially with the new functionalities coming in with custom extensions and everything. Pretty wonderful tool. I really love using Wappler and all.
Awesome. That's a wonderful commercial. Let's see here. Theodore, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay. Is it Tassos? And get to Andrew in a minute. Ben. Ben, would you like to say hi? What's your name? Your name, where you're from, and
yes, hello, Ben here. I think most of you will know me from the community side, and I make the occasional video regarding Wappler and how to use Wappler, how to well, do other things. What is it to say? I know most of you, and there are a couple of new ones, but no, I'm just a fervent user of Wappler, as I state in every video that I make, and I've been with them ever since they started. Very happy. Is that enough commercial, Mark?
That's perfect, Ben. Thank you.
Can I just chip in there and say Ben must be about the most committed person because it's about 3 or 4 a.m. where he is, something like that.
No, it's back to normal time here, and you guys are in daylight saving time, so it's only just past 12 midnight.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, John.
But we missed the pajamas, Ben.
Yes, I know. I still get the stripes, though.
Just stay out of prison. There's an M here. Would you like to introduce yourself? All right. Very good.
Yes, hello.
Hello, yes.
My name is Magnus. It's actually first time I'm in one of those meetings. I'm based in Switzerland.
Well, excellent, Magnus. Thanks for joining us. How long have you been using Wappler?
Probably for 12 hours all in all, but I gave it around three tries. But you know, I looked at other products, and I'm a Bubble ambassador, among other things. But with all the things going on there, I see that the Wappler is a platform and a concept that, you know, would future-proof my business. So that's why I'm here. But I have a computer science degree. I've done programming, led programming teams, and so I have enough technology skills, I think, to grab the concept of Wappler. So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, welcome aboard. We're glad you joined us. Okay, I'd like to turn this back over to Andrew, if you would.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's nice to see such an international group. Right, so can you see my screen all right?
Yes, sir. Nice.
Okay. So this is something I've built using Laravel, and it's just basically an admin panel with a lot of tables. And very simple. You've got a list of, for example, these are training courses, and you can click on a training course. You see the details. You can click on edit, make changes, delete, etc. So that is pretty much a CRUD interface. And I thought I'd have a go at doing something similar in Wappler, and got a bit stuck. So if we go to, let me see, Chrome. Oh yeah, I've got to actually open another window. Move this out of the way. Right. So in Wappler, I've built this. It's a tabbed, I've used the tabbed interface. So you've got courses and you've got course providers. Took me a while to get this working, but it is, and it's connecting to a MySQL database, by the way. But then the bit I've got stuck on is just very simple, really. I just want to click on one of these and then open up the details. I discovered there's a modal, so I can do modal, but it's what I struggled with was just a simple thing of how do I pass the ID of this through so that it actually opens the correct one. So I'm just opening the first one every time. That is, where I've got to. And I found in the interface, looking at things like, okay, I need a specific server connect maybe for the individual as compared to the, so this lists all the courses. This one lists a specific one, and then within my container, I've got this is my tab pane, and then I've got my dynamic tables, and I thought, okay, I need a data detail thing. So I'm just a little bit lost when I click on here and say, okay, what do I want? I want to show the details of a specific course. So where do I go? There's a lot here. And I was looking in the documentation, like where is a list that describes, each one of these, perhaps with examples or something. And I couldn't really find, because I think this is a fairly new version. Well, I'm using obviously the latest version here. I couldn't find a resource. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but I'm doing this in my spare time. So I've got a day job, and then in the evenings or whatever, I'm having a little go on this. And so that's where I am anyway. And I just thought perhaps other people have the same experience.
Okay.
And so that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
We all have. There's I know there's multiple ways of doing this, and we've got some experienced Wapplers on the call that I think can share their favorite ways. First off, I'd like to say that, and I'd like to again thank John Stanton from the UK for hosting our very first Wappler meetup a year ago. And if you would check that the meetup from last May of 2022, John did a full CRUD, build live worldwide on using Wappler, and that would. So I'm going to ask John first to share his favorite way of doing this. If I'm correct here, we're talking about what's it called? Summary to detail links. And I'll ask John to share his favorite way, and then I'll ask other Wapplers to chime in with other options.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I thought, Mark, is I thought, okay, I've seen some examples and some videos and so on, but quite often they're using a previous version, and I thought I want to take advantage of whatever's been developed, because I'm pretty sure that Wappler's been improved. So there's probably an easier way to do it than perhaps in some of these videos and things. So I'm looking for kind of like, okay, what is the best practice, the most up to date? So it's interesting that you say lots of people have got different ways of doing it.
Well, let's let him chat, and we'll see what we
Yeah,
come up with.
Yeah.
John, please lead us off if you would.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I haven't got anything I can just show you on screen. What I will say is what Mark mentioned. If you go back to the recording of last May, it's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and literally goes start to finish with a CRUD system. The two key ways I would say to look at, one is data detail. So when you do your server connect connection, create a data detail as well. And then when you have your click action on a row, you set the value in your data detail to pick the record that you've just clicked the row of. And so your modal, when it opens up, the data that it's showing is coming from the data detail rather than the server connect. I think at the moment you're getting it from the server connect, which is why you're always getting the first record. So data detail is the way to do it. The alternative way is to have another server connect that just pulls in a single record.
Yeah.
And you do a get variable back to that API call so that when you click on the row, you load that server connect action with your single record, which then pulls in the data of that single record. There's pros and cons to both methods. I'm a message. I use data detail basically in everything, and that just makes it work really well. And then I go one stage further, and if you have an add new record button, then I do a data detail select action again, but I set the record to 0, and then in my API script, I just do a simple conditional. If the ID is greater than 0, then do an update. If it's not, then do an insert. And that way you've got your single server connect script that does your insert and your update. And that way you've not got any repetition. But 20-25 minutes, the demo from last May goes through literally start to finish, getting your table up, your insert, your update, your delete, refreshing, everything is there. And I'm a big fan of modals, so what you'll see is pretty much what you want, I think.
So it will look like this, but working properly.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing you're lacking there is when you click on the row, instead of just opening the modal, you also want to select the record from your data detail. So you just add another action to your click event, which so if you go to your if you go to your row, where you've got your presumably you've got a mouse click action on there.
Let's see.
Scroll to the bottom of that bottom right panel.
Yeah,
that's it. So if you click on the play, that's it.
Oh, then you can
in there. Oh, so you've got in the key there for your data detail select. There, if you click on the lightning bolt, you now want to pick the ID. That's it. From the table repeat. Yep. So if you click on the ID and then select that, that's it, and then select again and save that. That should now give you what you want.
Just to refresh this.
Okay. Is your modal getting its data from the data detail or from the server connect?
I'm pretty sure it's getting it from the server connect.
Right, so it needs to get it from the data detail instead.
So go to the modal.
So go to the modal, click on the title, the Associate Tutor Programming. That's it. And then go to your inner text value. That's it. So instead of the server connect, click the lightning bolt and get it from the data detail instead.
That would be
and do title. And now select.
And I'd have to do that for all of these.
Do that for all your fields, yeah. So
Okay,
if you
I'll
want to
do that.
save that just to check, you can confirm that it works by the title.
Yeah. Right. Oh. Titles
Oh,
disappeared.
maybe we got the wrong field from the data detail.
Yeah, I might have. Did I choose title?
You did, but maybe
Title.
it wasn't title. I assumed it was title, but
Yeah, it is. Maybe something's wrong with my data detail because when I said
possibly. If you go to data detail,
yeah,
change the value, remove the value because you don't need that at this stage. So just do the
Yeah.
X on. That's it.
and same with this
Key ID, data source is fine. Key ID is fine.
because this
Yeah.
is what. Yeah, you can see how I was guessing, right?
Yeah, I think that will do it unless I've missed something.
All right. Oh, no.
Let's get the word course details from somewhere. If you go back to the modal
Mhm.
and click on the title again. Oh, course details. Click on course details. No, it's the heading you want to change. Sorry. Go in the tree over on the right.
Actually, it's gone. Oh,
Heading. That's it. And if you scroll down, have you got an inner?
yeah, I did have. Oh,
So dynamic. Go to add a dynamic attribute. Display inner text,
hmm.
and in there, do the lightning. That's it. And then
So
in your
this will
data
be-
detail,
Comes from data detail, data.
data title. That's it. And if you
Okay.
save that, please work.
No.
Something's gone that was there.
It's probably this this data detail, and maybe I haven't set that up because I was very much guessing.
The data detail looks right.
Okay, so it's based on this. You said don't use a separate server connect, right? There's no need, so I can use this one, the same one that I use for the table.
The data detail needs to be
Right.
the same server connects that you're using to produce that table.
Right. Okay. So I choose that one. Do I need to? Is that
Data.
enough?
Data, and then courses, and then click on courses again to put that into the. That's it.
Right.
And
that's it.
check that is the ID correct. Just check that again.
Yeah.
ID. Yeah, that's fine. What you've got there.
All right. Yeah. So I actually don't need this one, do I? I can delete this.
I don't know what that.
Yeah, that was my attempt to have a server connect just for the details. So
That's
I'll get rid of that. Keep it tidy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And no.
Your just check that your click action is got the right.
Right, that'll be responsive table. Keep going until I find
To the body and then the row. That's it.
Starting to get the hang of this. All right.
Just check that you've got your data detail is.
So I'm choosing data detail and select.
Yeah, and then just check the key. Remove that ID and do that again.
I don't know how I can remove it. So
no, that's fine. Just
that's
right. No, that's it. That is your repeat, isn't it? Where your list is.
Mm.
Oh, hang on, you've got another table repeat. What's your table repeat one further down?
That is something else. That's providers, training providers. So this is
Okay.
This is training
Yeah,
course.
in that case, just click on ID again just to make sure that it is the right.
Oh.
And remove the, you just click the
Ah.
X, that's it. That should, from what I can see, that should do it.
I'm just aware of how many people are on the call.
Yeah, I was hoping it would.
Okay.
I can always stay on afterwards, but that's the gist of it. Is your server connect brings in all the data. Your data detail looks at all that data and will pick a selected row. Your mouse click tells the data detail which row you want to select, and then your modal shows the data from that data detail. So data detail is just a single record that's come from your master server connect.
Okay.
So that's the hierarchy that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I think I'm on the right track. I think that's really helpful. That's kind of, even though we haven't quite got it working, at least I know I'm on the right track. And also,
can I just make a suggestion, please?
Yeah.
Rather than choosing the title, could you use the what is it? The $ID, I think it is, in the data detail table.
Oh, in there.
No, not there. Go to the modal.
Yeah.
And then click on the header, the H1, the HS, then go down to dynamic events or dynamic whatever.
Attributes.
Attributes,
yes. Click on that button, yes. Go to the data detail table or data source. No, the data source.
Oh, that's this one, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Click on data and click on. I thought it would have a because oh no, hang on. It's
the $ID would only give you the 0, 1, 2, whatever.
There's only one. Could you choose just one of the others instead of the title? Perhaps this ID or description. See what happens. Select. No, doesn't work. So you've got a problem between the data detail and the other one, the data source from the
and this server.
Yes.
I wonder whether the server. I always have the server connects at the top of the tree.
Yeah, I did too.
Could it be as simple as that?
So if it could be. So if you drag that right to the top.
Under app.
Under app, yeah. That's it there.
Yeah.
And also having the data detail also on the top would be really helpful.
Pardon?
I'd have the data detail immediately under the server connect.
Yes, keep it just under the server connect. Yeah.
I'll put it actually in the tab. That's so
I'm not sure. I mean, Theodore will be able to confirm if it makes a difference or not. But that's the structure I would have.
Nice. That's good to know.
If you want to save that and just see if that has fixed it.
Yeah.
No.
No. Well. I don't know how long you guys want to spend on this. Maybe we should move it on to something else.
This is all very interesting. I think that what I'd like to ask Andrew, if you would, is to take a look at John's CRUD video. I put a link in the chat.
Yep.
And then I'd love to hear back from you next month on precisely what it was and how you got it working.
Okay.
It seems to me like you're on the right track here, and there's just something in the wiring needs to be reconnected.
Yeah.
Let me ask Scott also to chime in. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this, Scott?
To this specific case, what I've found is that for any question, the answer is out there. It might be the case that some of the videos might be slightly, not necessarily dated, but on earlier versions. And it might be the case that trying to find those answers might take a bit of time. So I don't know if there's a way where we can make it easier to answer specific questions, knowing that there's a lot of resource out there already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in this particular case, I'm quite confident that John's CRUD video will, it's 20 minutes, half hour. It will walk them through it. That was a foundational video to developing, the detail summary detail pages.
Mm.
And I'm anxious to see what you come up with next month.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Absolutely. And,
Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Just want to ask a question. So I noticed a lot of the Wappler tutorials go directly to a database. So there's a Wappler front end, and they're making SQL queries. We go through APIs, so we don't have any direct SQL in our applications. So is there anything I could look at that would demonstrate similar, detailed master list kinds of applications where instead of making a query, I could make an API call, get a result in JSON, and then use that to, implement a similar application? Again, a tutorial would be great, just something to follow, because, until you get your first successful application, it's really hard to figure out what you should do.
Well, that would be a new one on me. Does anybody on the call have any comment on that?
Basically, the Server Connect API, it's JSON that comes back from that anyway. So if you wanted to get data from a third-party API, there are API actions within Server Connect. So you just put in where the API is, what variables you're sending to it. It will then it will create the structure of the data that comes back, and you can then work with that just the same as you would work from a SQL query.
So that I would still have a data detail component?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I haven't used them, but there's API App Connect elements available as well. So you can do it, you can talk to an API from the front end without using Server Connect at all. But I've not needed to do that.
The other complexity is authentication, right? So we would have to provide some kind of token on that API call to say I'm an authorized user. So again, that's another, bit of confusion about how to do that.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on it. I've used API for talking to things like Zero accounts system, Stripe before Wappler had its own native Stripe integration, PayPal, things like that, and it works really well. And it seems to be it's been put together very cleverly so that it can handle any API.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Again, if any example, like here's what you do, would just like crystallize, how it all hangs together. So
I'm sure there are examples in the community. I'm sure there are.
Have you one of the great resources is the Wappler YouTube channel.
I have looked at that, yeah, but I don't know about you guys. This is appealing to me because I have some stuff I want to build that I don't want to dedicate a developer to. I just want to knock out some internal IT projects in sort of a low code environment and just have it work. To spend lots of time trying to figure it out, it's a killer, right, for me, because I got a lot of stuff to do. So I have looked at the YouTube channel. Nothing's obvious. I keep coming back to Wappler because I see the potential, but it's not easy to figure it out, right?
Mark, let me get this correct. So you're trying to connect to a third-party application, is it? Use
No.
the API?
No, connecting to our own, server. So we have to be HIPAA compliant. Security matters, and
Okay.
we can't have an open, database hackable kind of interface. So I don't want to just drive some SQL query to Postgres or something. I want to run it through an API where we can log and audit and do lots of other things that you have to do. And building the server side is a piece of cake, because we know,
Right.
Go and so on. But trying to do the front end I just want it to go fast, and so I keep getting stuck. That's all.
Right. I understand. Wappler allows the App Connect module wherein you can send a custom API connect with a URL and send it across headers.
Right. I've seen some of that, but
Yes.
so I don't want to derail everybody, but trying to have a login screen, making that connect to get a token, and then trying to present that token in every other API to say you're an authorized user. I mean, all that stuff has to be figured out. And yeah, I just get confused.
You bring up an interesting point. Tidor made a comment in the chat. When I've experienced this as well. You try to build something and it doesn't work, and we try to build something, it doesn't work, and there's we keep doing the same thing over and over again in the same code.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe we can. It helps to. I go over a fresh page and try again fresh, and then it works because of something that I clicked wrong or didn't delete properly. One of the maybe we can talk about workflows and how to work with it. One of the things that I've learned that works for me is especially when I'm doing something that I haven't done before, is every time I make a click, which is really easy to do in Wappler, I check the code that Wappler's putting in, so I understand what Wappler's doing in the background. So instead of just looking at the display, I'm looking at the display and the code with each click, and that sometimes can throw up a red flag about, oh, if I have to backtrack, I need to know what has to come out of the code before I can put something new in that's not going to conflict with it.
It's actually a good suggestion. Yeah.
Does anybody else have any workflows or ideas to build on Theodore's comment?
One particular problem, quite two actually, that I commonly face is one is same IDs. Sometimes when you end up putting in names for the IDs, and if there is a conflict in the names, things get broken. A model might not open, or some kind of a page or table will not open. Wappler does tell you that there is a common ID that you're using in the code when you open the code view. So that's one particular problem. The other problem that I see sometimes is the particular element for Tagify or something. Whenever you're adding, sometimes Wappler misses to add it into your layout, and that element does not function well. Sometimes I seen it happen to me 2-3 times when the element was not even working, and then I opened in the browser console page, and then I saw that it's not able to find that Tagify element. It has happened for other elements also. So then I manually went in and actually added that element into the top portion of the code in the layout. So these are some of the problems that you might come across.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's another interesting point. I have a workstation with a slow spinning hard drive that has caused some of my issues, where I click on something and I think it's there, but it's not there yet. And then I click on something else, and I wind up clicking myself into a corner. but having the taking one step at a time and following the code is always a good idea. So,
And
Andrew, I'm going to look forward to talk with you later on in the month and representing again in next month with what your solution was.
I feel like I've got a boss now.
But there's no pressure. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
You're among friends.
Thanks.
I'd like to open up the floor now. Oh, I noticed that Bob Iceman is on the call. Welcome from the Silver Lakes, is it? Forgot where Bob's.
I couldn't find my unmute. Lake of the Ozarks.
Lake of the Ozarks. All right. Welcome back, Bob.
Better late than never.
We're glad you're here. I'd like to open up the conversation to the floor. Does anybody, we've got a pretty good brain trust of Wapplers here. Does anybody have a specific questions or topic they'd like to discuss?
I've got some stuff to demo at some point.
That would be awesome. Why don't we go to that?
Yeah, okay.
You should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. There we go. Okay, hopefully this is the right screen. All right, can you all see it?
See a GitHub in a browser.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone for the great feedback and the great response from the user auth module, the project that I shared in the last meetup. I've done some work on it. There's a load more documentation and various updates have gone in as well. And somebody actually raised a bug against it and that was closed out. So thank you for doing that. But that's not what we're going to show today. So basically, I'm a software developer. I like no code because it gives you an acceleration for developing applications. And I really like Wappler because of the ability to deploy your application anywhere and there's no vendor lock-in. In building applications, I've used Figma for a long time to design the apps. And I've always aspired to be able to use Figma to build the UI and then not have to rebuild it again in the classic designer developer handover. So I built myself a tool, and that tool I call Impress. And that tool I've made available for use with Wappler, where you can take Figma designs and generate them into Wappler code. So I'll show you it in action. So I'm using a design that I found on Dribble. Dribble's really good for design inspiration. You can't just steal designs from there, unfortunately, because they do belong to the owners, but you can go on there and see some really good ideas. I found this nice one by this guy called, by this person called D Studio. And they kindly gave me permission to be able to use it for the demo that I'm about to show you. So this is the design that they built. In Figma, I took that design as a screenshot, and then I rebuilt it just using Figma components. So you'll see that there's text elements, image elements, etc. Obviously, it's not quite the same. I've changed the name, but I've used it effectively for inspiration. And there's one key thing that I've done in here. I've used what Figma calls auto layout. Auto layout is fantastic. It basically follows the Flexbox model and allows applications to grow and shrink, etc., with the relative real estate that they have available to them. So with regards to Impress itself, that's the name I've called this tool. Impress here will talk to Figma, directly to Figma. It'll pull the design. It'll do some work to parse that design, and it will generate out some Wappler markup that it will feed into an online Git storage, a Git repository. In this case, I'm going to show you GitHub, where that's then used as an intermediary to talk between Wappler and Impress effectively. So I have a Git project. I created it fresh this morning, in fact, 1 hour ago. This is Impress. And so what you can do from here is set up a project to have all those connections that I just showed you. So you can create a new project. And in here, this cog show in red to show that it needs some information. So you can add the Git repositories API key the URL to it, which branch you want to work with, whether there's any specific subfolders. Then in Figma, you can add the Figma API key, the URL, and any frames that you want to work with to generate that, or you can put an asterisk in there. I've already set one up just for the sake of a live demo. And literally I ran that just prior to this meeting. And so that run complete, it took 2 minutes. I'll show you how a run works in a sec. But what that effectively did is it took an existing Wappler project that I checked in, a bare minimum Wappler project I checked into GitHub. It pulled that code down, it connected it with this design that I have in here, and then it fed back into that GitHub repo all of the additional markup. And so if I go into Wappler, you'll see it's hidden in the little screen down there. You'll see that we've got something that looks like the design, and we've got some elements over in the tree on the right-hand side. So let's see the design first. There it is, localhost. That's it running inside of Wappler. And we pull that directly from this design here. Now, just having the UI is okay, but you want to be able to do stuff with it. You'll see in here that we have some elements. And so we've got things like unknown project pill, user testing project pill, title, status box. And so how Impress works is inside of Figma, you can mark up your elements with flags. And so over in here, these little pills, as I call them, inside Figma, I put the keyword editor against them. And the fact they've got editor means that when they run through Impress, they will then present themselves in the app structure inside of Wappler. Similarly, we've got title here, which is label, and we've got some other editor ones down here. And so when it passes through Impress, they will then appear over in here where you can then work on them and add the plumbing effectively for those components. And so the key thing is, whenever you add items inside of Wappler, whenever you add any dynamic aspects, or you just mark up anything inside of Wappler, if you go back into Figma and you want to add new stuff, or you want to regen your screen, or even move stuff around, and we'll do that in a sec, in the life cycle of all this, anything you've added into Wappler, as long as you've checked it into Git, when you do a regen in Impress, it'll keep all of your Wappler additions in there as well. So it really gives you the ability to work on both platforms at the same time. So effectively, inside of the design here, let's switch these two columns around. So we'll come over to this one, and we'll come back up to top level, move that across, so it's there. Go into Impress, press play. There's a useful little prompt here. Have you checked in all of your Wappler code? If so, click this button. You can turn this on or off via this little switch here. If we look inside the Git manager, all the code's checked in. So that's fine. So we run it, queues the job up, clones the repo, impresses upon it, commits it back in. From there, you'll see we've got two updated files. We've got the CSS and the index, CSS and the view for index updated. We come back over here, we pull this down, and then if we go back to our page and refresh, you'll see that these two are swapped around.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Inside of Impress, I've got documentation. It's not the prettiest at the moment, but it gives you ideas of all of the different flags, the markup that you can use inside of Figma. And if you sit here for long enough and you work on one of these, you can then make it far more advanced, like this example here, where basically I've highlighted the buttons you can press. You can delete cards. You can add cards. And in fact, you can do that on any of the rows here, on any of the columns as well. Boom. So what you've seen is a design in Figma that has been marked up with specific markup that Impress is aware of and that will map to specific functionality in Wappler. Impress itself, where you can connect it to a Git repo and you can connect it to Figma, and it uses that Git repo as an intermediate repository to talk to Wappler. And then via that, you can basically draw and design however you want to feel, however you feel. You can generate it into Wappler codes. You can add additional Wappler code in here. The server connects, you can add anything you want, and they will persist. As long as you check them back into GitHub, You can then play around with the UI in Figma, and you can play around with the plumbing inside of Wappler. Any
That's
questions?
awesome. So when does the Chat GPT version of this come out?
Yeah, I think it's everybody's racing, right, to get their ideas done before ChatGPT takes over it. Yes. So theoretically, if ChatGPT generated Figma designs, which it probably will do in the not too distant future,
exactly.
You can then take those Figma designs, you can feed them through this, and then you can have those designs inside of Wappler.
Wow. So how did you handle, like, is there like a data detail page to each one of these pills, as you call them, the card?
So these are simply just repeat children, and they just repeat. Okay. Actually, so the project I'm showing you here is not this. So sorry, let me go back. The one that you can see running here, this one, the repeat children, I've literally just hard coded number 2 in there, so it just repeats this element twice. In this one, it's the repeats just runs against a server connect. The server connect itself, just for the sake of this demo, and I'll happily share the code at some point. I did have it connect into a database, but to make it easier to share, it just goes to an API endpoint that just uses session variables to session objects just to store its information. So it's quite self-contained.
That's wonderful. Could I impose upon you to share the link to the links to the GitHub and whatever else is needed, so we can include that in. If Ben would be so kind to include the links when he posts the video on YouTube.
Yes. So a couple of things to add to that. Effectively, what I've done is launch a beta version of this. Mm-hmm. I have actually put, if I go to it, I've put the ability to have some level of subscription in there, but that's just if anybody wants any bugs fixed, they can pay me to do it. But for the moment, it's all available for use. I've created 2 videos. I was editing them this morning, and I just couldn't finish them in time. So I have a video that will explain how to get set up with Impress, and I have another video that will explain how to take specifically this design and generate it in using Impress into Wappler, and then add the capability to it. So those videos, along with links, I'll get to you as soon as possible.
That's awesome. Very good.
Can I ask a question? The question I always ask everybody when something like this, is it server specific? As in Node.js or PHP, or is it because it's predominantly front end, it's agnostic?
It should be agnostic. It basically works with HTML and CSS, and it adds the specific Wappler markup to the HTML code. So it should be relatively service specific because it's just on the client side.
Excellent question.
I'm blown away by it. So yeah, massive well done. And so this is going to be a software as a service, basically. You're hosted as a system, and then other people would connect to their own repos in order to make use of it.
Exactly. Yes.
What happens if Adobe kills this off?
Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, did I say it properly? What happens if Adobe kills it off, like they do with all the other programs?
If Adobe kills Figma off, the world will stop turning around. So many people use it. So it's the greatest design tool on the planet. It would they would be shooting themselves in every foot and hand they have if they were to impede people from using it.
Well, they've done that before.
Well, what are they going to do with XD? It's
Excellent
exactly
question.
the same program, except in Figma is much better.
Yeah. I think everybody's waiting to hear the real answer to that question.
Well, we'll have to reach out to Adobe and see if we can figure out what their plans are. Well, this has been a phenomenal session. Scott, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your demo. You did that very promptly, very professionally. And if you can, you blew John away, and me too. It's a phenomenal, it would be a phenomenal time saver to be able to use designs like that over, so quick, important so quickly in a Wappler. I always hated doing work twice, and that you solved the problem there. We're about at the 1 hour mark, so we try to keep these meetups to within an hour. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. We do global Wappler meetups on the first Friday of every month at 4 p.m. or 1600 in the Netherlands on Friday, the first Friday of every month. I would invite all Wapplers to viewing this to join us on the first Friday for future videos. You can, if you have a question or something you'd like to present to Wapplers, I'm Mark1 on the forum, Mark and the number 1. And please feel free to reach out. I look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, all I have to say is WAP on, and we look forward to seeing you again next month. Everybody take care and have a wonderful Easter holiday.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Mark.
So long now.
Thank you.